All right, so Representative Jasmine Crockett absolutely shreds Ken Paxton over his FAK bribery claims in this Texas power grab. And yeah, this is one of those moments where you just sit back and watch a MAGA official get dismantled on live television, because the lies he's pushing aren't just desperate, they're his cover for a blatant attempt to rig the system. Let's watch the full clip and then I'll give you my thoughts at the end.
Welcome back. A Texas Senate committee today on a party line vote advanced the state's redistricting map. Also, the state's Attorney General, Ken Paxton, launched an investigation into a George Soros-backed political action committee for assisting Democratic lawmakers who have left the state to deny a quorum to slow that redistricting process down. Earlier, I spoke to Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Texas Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett joins me now. Congresswoman, my audience is pretty thoroughly dialed in on this Texas redistricting battle. So I want to go through, if I could with you, your hierarchy of concerns. Number one, how concerned or not concerned are you about what Senator Cornyn, John Cornyn, said today, that the FBI has granted his request to go hunt down members of the Texas legislature who are not in Texas?
Oh, it's absolutely concerning. Obviously, this is not a federal issue. This is absolutely a state issue, as these are state lawmakers, number one. Number two, there's a lot of things that our FBI could be doing, such as keeping us safe, instead of doing the bidding of a corrupt president who has decided that he doesn't want any accountability, and he knows that the persons within his party are not willing to hold him accountable. And honestly, frankly, it is so concerning that this came from John Cornyn. Now, a Ted Cruz doing this, that sounds on brand, but John Cornyn is not this guy. I will tell you that I honestly have the utmost respect for John Cornyn. He has been a good partner when it comes to working on legislation. We have always put Texas first. So the idea that it's now Texas last and it's whatever the orange orangutan wants him to do is really sad, that he would get to this point in his career and then decide that he would start to kind of play the political games.
The orange orangutan, I believe, is your reference to the President of the United States?
Yes.
Understood. Just wanted to clarify. How concerned or not concerned are you, Congresswoman Crockett, about efforts to expel members of the Democratic caucus in the state legislature?
Oh, I'm not concerned at all.
Why?
It doesn't concern me that they are trying to do this, because obviously I was a part of the quorum break in 2021. And so when I participated in that quorum break, there were various things that they tried to submit to the Supreme Court at that time. And the Texas Supreme Court at that time, which for the most part has the same makeup as it did in 2021, it specifically said that these were political issues and therefore they had no jurisdiction to get involved. I don't think that this will be any different. One of the things that MAGA is really good about is they always want to put on a show. So it's like, grabbing people off the streets. That's about putting on a show. Doing things like, oh, we're going to kick you out of office is about putting on a show. I truly believe that not every portion of democracy has failed just yet. And frankly, the only part that hasn't fully kind of succumbed at this point is the courts in general. Any wins that we have experienced on behalf of democracy thus far have been in the courts. And so while I don't necessarily have the utmost faith in all courts, I do know that there is recent precedents specifically about quorum breaking for Texans, as well as I understand that in our Texas Constitution, it specifically allows for a quorum break. So it doesn't make sense. I just don't see this Supreme Court twisting itself into a pretzel just to appease this governor who's trying to appease the president.
What about accusations from the sitting Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, that those who have fled the state, who are members of the legislature, who are Democrats, are accepting bribes to do so, to pay for their expenses?
Listen, now I will tell you that he knows a little something about taking money that he's not supposed to take. I mean, if there's anybody that understands breaking the law, it is definitely the one that was under federal investigation for I don't know how many years and was subject to state felony indictments for close to probably 8 years in the state of Texas. But honestly, we've done quorum breaks before. And again, there's never been anyone that even tried to presume or tried to pretend as if this was bribery. Listen, these are people that are out there. They are working on behalf of their constituents. And when we are not in a regular session in Texas, we are allowed to take donations. We are one of the few states that so long as you're in session, regular session, you're not allowed to take any money. And the reason is because literally lobbyists would come on the floor and drop money historically in Texas to try to get their way. So they changed the law. And so there is nothing illegal about what they're doing. People can donate to them and support them in their advocacy and how it is that they believe that they need to represent for their districts.
On this program last night, Brian Harrison, who is a Republican member of the Texas House, said that the Democrats who have left Texas are hypocrites, his word, not mine, because they fled to Illinois, a deeply gerrymandered state, or they fled to California or New York, deeply Democratic gerrymandered states. So he listed 3 and said those are representative of flaws in the system that Texas Republicans are just trying to balance in Texas. I'd like your response.
Yeah, listen, I just can't listen to any Republican right now. If you are not a Republican that had a problem with the fact that the U.S. House decided that they would go on recess for an entire month because they did not want to deal with the Epstein files, then you absolutely have no place to speak. Now, I will be honest and tell you that there were some Republicans, mostly on the federal level, that absolutely said in a very bipartisan way that they believed in the transparency and they believed that these files should absolutely be turned over to us. So all of a sudden, you want to talk about this? It's the same thing with Congressman Kiley, who all of a sudden wants to file a bill saying, hey, we can't do mid-decade redistricting only because he believes that he's on the chopping block in California if California does what they're saying that they're going to do. So here's the deal. Time out for Democrats just sitting there and being the bigger person and absolutely doing the moral thing, the right thing, when Republicans are playing with a completely different playbook. They don't know how to deal with us actually deciding that we will get on their level. And unfortunately, for the American people, that level is not an uplifting level. Unfortunately, it is very down and dirty. But at the end of the day, we refuse to be anybody's doormat. So I got news for them. I'm not going to let you walk over me, because walking over me means you're walking over and you're stepping on my constituents. And some things are bigger than any titles. And one of those things is absolutely democracy and fighting for it and making sure we do everything to preserve it, even if it means that we got to get in the mud and play the same game that y'all are playing.
Congresswoman Crockett, you gained a lot of attention by being a rather fierce critic of the president. Some of your language in this interview suggests as much. Teddy Roosevelt told us to be in the arena means to be scrutinized and to be criticized. The New York Post has a story today that has a headline that reads, "No-show boss from hell who terrorizes staffers," referring to you. Are you a no-show boss from hell who terrorizes staffers?
Oh my goodness. Listen, I know that I have arrived, honey. That is the way that I see this, because as Beyonce says, if they're not talking about you, then obviously you must not be doing anything. You know what? This is just more slander, more nonsense, more lies. And honestly, I don't think that the New York Post would probably be the first ones to be able to figure out if I was a boss from hell. I just don't think so. I have happily served on the state level for, I did 2 years there, and now I am at year 2.5 on the federal level. And so 5.5 years in, all of a sudden, I'm this terrible person and terrible boss. Yeah, I don't think so. And ultimately, it wouldn't be the New York Post. Now, here's the reality. It is very difficult to work on the Hill, no matter who you are, whether you're a member, as you and I were joking before we got on camera about all of the scrutiny that comes with being not only woman, but being young and being a Black woman. Yeah, there's a lot of scrutiny that comes my way, and it comes my way from all different angles. But when people start talking about you, that's when you know that you are obviously getting under their skin. So I am not going to give up. There's a song that I like to quote every once in a while. It says, "Your hate is my motivation." So keep hating. All it does is motivate me to continue to do what I do, which is to be loud and proud on behalf of the American people.
Texas Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, I appreciate the time.
Absolutely.
Okay, first off, the fact that John Cornyn, Mr. I'm a serious statesman, goes on record bragging that the FBI is going to help hunt down Texas lawmakers, yeah, that's straight up political theater. This isn't a federal crime. It's not even close. Quorum breaking is literally written into the Texas Constitution. They've been doing it for decades. In 1979, it was the Killer Bees. In 2003, Democrats fled to Oklahoma. In 2021, they did it again. And you know why? Because it's one of the only tools left when the majority is jamming through something extreme. And this time, it's extreme. They're pushing a mid-decade redraw to lock in what? 5 extra safe GOP House seats after the DOJ has already flagged them for racial vote dilution. It's classic gerrymandering 101. Cut up Black and Latino districts, stretch the lines, pack and crack until you've got permanent power, no matter how people vote. And Trump's fingerprints are all over the strategy he's been pushing state legislatures to do mid-decade maps since he lost in 2020. Then Ken Paxton, who, let's just remind everyone, has been under actual felony indictment for nearly a decade, comes out talking about bribery. His big investigation is basically Democrats getting travel costs covered by donors while they're not in regular session, which Texas law allows. That's not bribery, that's fundraising. You know who knows a lot about getting money you're not supposed to get? Ken Paxton. And the hypocrisy angle from Republicans calling Democrats hypocrites for going to Illinois or California, yeah, spare me. These same Republicans looked the other way when the U.S. House went on recess for a month just to avoid releasing the Epstein files. Suddenly they care about consistency? No, they care about power. And they'll drag the FBI into a state matter, threaten to vacate seats, and smear opponents in the press if it keeps them in control. And honestly, the attacks on Crockett herself, the boss from hell stuff from the New York Post, it's the oldest play in the book. Young, black, outspoken woman in politics, you become a lightning rod. They're not going after her because she's ineffective. They're going after her because she's making noise and getting in their way. If they weren't threatened, they wouldn't waste the ink. Here's the thing. When one party starts treating elections like a nuisance instead of the point of the system, when they use every lever to pre-decide outcomes, that's when you have to use every legal tool. You've got to slow them down. That's what this quorum break is. And that's why the GOP is going all in to delegitimize it. They don't want you to notice the map they're drawing while they're yelling bribery on television. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. While you're down there, hit the like button and subscribe. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.